About 2 years ago, I was told that my father had cancer, and obviously I became very worried and definitely went through a period of depression. I had a hard time focusing on my studies and just being a regular person and going about my regular day. I decided to make a movie about my father, mostly to get to know him better, because even though growing up I wasn't terribly distant from my father, there were still so many things about his past that I didn't know about.
For many, Lexington is simply a charming small town. But for me and my brother, Lexington is the epitome of southern white suburbia.
This is our Otago Road. On the left, everything's just breaking buds, and buds are just starting to come open with showing white. We've pruned the trees off and taken about half of the flower buds off, at least half. So you can see there's still an awful lot of flower buds in there. And every flower bud has 5 or 6 pairs that will have to be thinned down to 1.
You have to come to a place where you know that you're comfortable to talk to your parents. And you also have to make sure that they're comfortable too to talk to you.
It was just land, no house,
no
nothing.
house, nothing. But just the land is, literally landscaped, and I think it was beautiful at the time.
I got a lot of candid moments from my parents and my brother and just my family in general, and also of me. And I got to actually see how my family interacts. And that was a really eye-opening experience for me. I think that it really let me see everyone in my family in a very objective light. I always had this image of my father as him being some kind of Superman, you know, like he knew everything and he could do anything. And this was the first time I ever saw him really vulnerable. And I realized that, you know, he's not a Superman, and he's not just my father either, you know, he's his own person who has his whole life story. People have their own limits, and I think that that's a really important thing to remember when in any relationship, that for a long time, especially, I had some problems with my mother because she's very strict.
You want to be a farmer? Pear farmer? I didn't ask to become a fair farmer, you know?
It's not just that I have to be ready to talk, that she has to be ready to listen. Eventually, especially if people care about you, they're probably ready before you realize it. I mean, that's the only thing. Like, I thought that my mom wasn't ready, but I think that she hears me now, and I think it makes me feel a lot better. And then I know that if anything ever happens to me, that I can definitely go to my parents for help. And it's a really, really comforting feeling. The biggest fear I had when I made the movie was I knew I'd have to show the movie to my parents eventually. The real audience for this film was my parents, and since they've approved of it, I already feel like it's made some awards.